Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are on the day of UFC 305, or about as close to the day as you can get. It's about 24 hours away. And I'm going to be going through every fighter on the card. We do this every pay-per-view and talking about who needs to win the most, who is under the most pressure at UFC 305, who is just completely toast if they lose. I know we just had the announcement of Roundtree, Pereira and stuff. I'm going to go live soon. So as you watch this, prepare to go to my channel and watch my live stream. I'll probably go live and talk about that. Probably won't make an individual video because it kind of fucks with the schedule. Might do one after the card though, because I don't know, I don't really like to double upload on the same day, and I don't usually upload the day before pay-per-views. But anyway, yeah, who's under the most pressure at UFC 305? Who needs to win the most? Who really doesn't have much pressure on them? Who can just go out there and just fucking fight with no stress? Yeah, let's talk about every fighter. Let's get into it. Dricus du Plessis. Dricus is under a lot of pressure because, I mean, it's a main event, it's a title fight, it's a pay-per-view main event, so obviously there's pressure for both sides. Dricus, it's extreme pressure on both sides. I'm saying like a 9, 10 out of 10 for Dricus. He's been chatting, he's been doing a good job at the press conference. He absolutely 10-7 Dizzy at the press conference, made him cry in front of a live audience at a press conference. Crazy stuff. So you're going to take the servants back to Africa with you? Based on Dricus. Adesanya just yapping, saying that's rich from someone who owns slaves. Adesanya, bro, I broke down like a car. Watched. No, but Dricus du Plessis is under a lot of pressure. Of course, it's a pay-per-view main event. He loses his belt. If he loses, it's going to be very embarrassing. You'll get all the Adesanya glazers jump on and be like, we might have lost the press conference, but we won the war. We lost the battle, but we won the war. Botched. Like, that's what the Adesanya fans are going to be doing if he loses. They're going to, Kenny Okoye will not shut up. So, I know MMA Guru, for his mental health, needs a Dricus du Plessis win, just for the sake of, I don't want to see these virgin fucking 12-year-old cringe lord Adesanya fans. I don't want to see them have anything to be happy about. So yeah, I need Dricus to win. We're rooting for it to happen. Look, Dricus, again, yeah, you're a champion of the world. You need a win to defend your belt. You need a win to hold on to that. And yeah, it's going to be it's not like people would say he's bad, like, but if he goes out there and gets if he loses the decision, it's not as bad. Like, if he just gets, what would be a good comparison? Like Vittori'd or cannoneered, and it just looks kind of mid. It wouldn't be a terrible look. I think then a lot of people would shift to like, oh, Izzy's boring. But no, if he gets finished, if he gets KO'd and Izzy does a fucking Wakanda forever over his body, that's tough. So yeah, Dricus definitely needs to get the win, pretty much as high as you can get on the pressure rating for him. Let's talk about Israel Adesanya though. Izzy as well, 10 out of 10 on the pressure rating. This main event is extremely high stakes. It's not like no fucking Pena vs Pennington main event where the winner is just going to go get destroyed by Kayla Harrison. Like, no, this is an extremely high stakes main event. A lot on the line for both sides, of course, Izzy as well. I broke down crying, but I'll win the battle. Botched. I don't know. Izzy, like, that's actually an accurate Izzy impression, because he would say something like that. But no, he let him have that one. I don't care. He might have destroyed me at the press conference, but I'll destroy him in the ass. Botched. I don't know. No, but Adesanya got smoked at the press conference, cried on stage, literally got mad that Dricus said factually correct things. Adesanya did have servants growing up. It's not wrong. And Izzy's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? I took off my shoes to connect with the land, and you just stared me down, tried to mean mug me. Are you stupid? That's actually not a bad Izzy impression, I feel like. He's like, I'm going back to Nigeria on Tuesday, South Africa on Friday. I am a child of the earth. And then Dricus is just like, are you going to take the servants with you back to Africa? Fucking based on Dricus. So, no, but yeah, Izzy, you're cooked if you lose, buddy. You're about, like, it's the same pressure for both, but I feel like if he gets just 10-7 at the fucking press conference and then goes out there, gets, like, grapple fucked and just finished on the ground and humiliated, that's tough. If he gets knocked out, amazing. That would be tremendous. Doubt it happens. But yeah, Izzy definitely under a lot of pressure. Both sides under a lot of pressure. I was trying to think, under a lot of pressure, like a pressure cooker. Botched. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Izzy, yeah, lots of pressure. 10 out of 10 on both sides, pretty clearly. Let's move on, though, to the co-main event. Start Kai Carter, France. You know, Moreno got caught with that body kick. But, you know, I'm going to come back better than ever. And Steve Usyk, you know, I don't know, it's a terrible, I can't really do a Kai Carter, France impression. Can't make my voice sound that high-pitched. But, no, Kai Kara-France, I would say he's under a fair bit of pressure. Look, he's coming off a pretty long layoff, coming off a controversial loss to El Bazi. Before that, got finished by Moreno. And if he goes out there and gets kind of schooled here by Usyk, that's going to just put a hammer in the fucking... That'll put a nail in the coffin of Kai Kara-France's title dreams. Probably never fights for a belt again. Unless some weird circumstance pops up and Pantoja needs another fucking opponent, because, like, they're literally having to go... Pantoja's title offenses is going from, like, beating Moreno, number 1 contender Brandon Royval, number fucking 10 contender Usyk, and now he's going to be fighting unranked, first fight in the UFC, Kai Asakura. Like, they're literally having to just pull out random cunts from nowhere, for Pantoja to fight. So, like, because bro's beaten half the division already. Next thing you know, they're going to fucking get, like, they're going to get some bantamweight and be like, yo, can you cut to flyweight? Sick. Get a free title shot. Yo, number 7 ranked bantamweight. Any chance you can make flyweight? All right, buddy. Here's a title shot. Like, that's what they're going to do at this point. But, yeah, Kai Kara-France definitely needs to win to keep his title dreams alive. Usyk is a great fighter, right? He arguably beat Pantoja in his last fight, so it's not like we'll look at Kai as like a bad fighter if he loses, but also you do need to kind of get this one done if you want to have any chance of getting to the belt. Usyk, though, yeah, he definitely is under a bit of pressure because even though a lot of people thought he won his last fight against Pantoja, arguably should be champion right now, if he loses this, it's going to be tough for him because that's going to be like, oh, it was a one-off performance, he's not that good after all, it was just a Jones-Reyes type of thing or some shit like that. That's what the narrative will be if he does lose this fight. I could see it being a close decision. I could see Kai pulling it away. I don't love the odds. They're a bit too wide for my liking. But no, Usyk's great. If he wins, he's probably one away from a title shot, even though he arguably deserves a rematch already based on the fact that he arguably beat Pantoja. But no, Usyk definitely needs to get the win here. This is a pretty high-stakes matchup in the flyweight division, not like Manel Makayev, which is why I do think it'll actually be a fun fight. Both of these two will just strike, I believe. Usyk might grapple, but Kai's takedown defense is pretty solid. So yeah, Usyk, Kai, both under a fair bit of pressure. I'll say 6, 7 out of 10 for Kai. Probably 7, 8 out of 10. I think Usyk's under a little bit more pressure just because of how his last fight went, and he needs to keep that perspective of people, not just be like, oh, it was just a one-off. So yeah, Usyk, both of these guys definitely need a win to keep themselves in title contention. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. Next up, Mateusz Gamrot. This dude's under a fair bit of pressure because this guy's ranked number 5 or something in the world right now, and arguably deserves like a top 3 opponent. Should probably be fighting Oliveira if we're being objective. Now he's fighting like number 9 or 10 Dan Hooker, and if he loses, he's cooked because he's already not like gonna be in line for a title shot. We're seeing how this is going with now Ankalaev not getting a title shot, with Roundtree getting one. Like, you gotta be entertaining as well. I know Ankalaev's not even that boring half the time, but like, if you piss Dana off at any moment, if you're not fun at any moment, and you're like, Roundtree's delivering knockouts. Ankalaev is too, but like, he's also having somewhat dead fights. Like Santos, the Blachowicz fight wasn't great. So like, Ankalaev's pissed off Dana. He's not always that fun. He's got no personality. He's got no pay-per-view drawing power. And so they're just being like, fuck it, let's just do a fun matchup. Like, same thing with Gamrot. If Gamrot goes out there and just wrestle fucks 30-27's Dan Hooker, he'll still probably need like 2 wins, to be honest. Even though he has a win over Arman on paper. On paper. But no, I do think Gamrot definitely needs to win this because it's like the Bilal situation. Bilal on his rise to the belt, if he lost any one of those fights, he is never getting a title shot again. If he loses and stops at like a 8-fight win streak, and then he loses and then wins another 5 after that, he's still not getting a title shot. Like, all they're looking for is one slip up, one loss, and they're immediately being like, back of the line, you can go fucking fight, I don't know, like, fucking Maite Baker or Ilbai. Like, that's who Gamrot will fucking, like, you can fucking fight like Ludovic Klein or Joel Alvarez or fucking BSD or some shit after he beats Moicano. Like, you're just going to get sent down the rankings. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for you to lose a fight. So Gamrot definitely under a lot of pressure. I'd say like 8 out of 10, to be honest, because he does need to win to keep his title dreams going. Let's move on, though, to the next fighter. Dan Hooker, just a scratch. No, Dan Hooker, though, not really under a lot of pressure, honestly. He's got a lot of freedom here. He's not looked at as like a top contender regardless. He's out here. The only pressure is like, I guess, losing in front of your home crowd wouldn't be great. But apart from that, he's got no real pressure, like, title-wise. No one's expecting him to win, to be honest. He's a big underdog. He can go out there, prove a lot of people wrong. That would be sick for him. So, yeah, Dan Hooker, like, 5 out of 10 pressure rating, 4 out of 10. Like, he's really not under much pressure. He's fighting someone who's a not great style matchup for him. A lot of people think he's just going to get wrestle-fucked. So, if he goes out there, finishes Dan Hooker, you could be in line for, like, a Gaethje fight or, like, an Oliveira fight, to be honest. So yeah, not too much pressure on the Dan Hooker side. Let's move on though to the next fight. Tuivasa, I mean, his arteries are under a lot of pressure, to be sure. But Tai, I mean, yeah, he's also under a lot of pressure, to be honest. The floor that he stands under is under a lot of pressure. The octagon will be under a lot of pressure. I'll stop with the fat jokes now. But, yeah, Tai's on a 4-fight loss streak. This will make it 5. If he loses this, you're cooked. I know, like, he's expected to lose odds-wise, but, like, Rozenstruik, it's a more favourable... It's the most favourable stylistic matchup that he's gotten since Derek Lewis. Because since then, he fought Cyril Gane, actually technical striker with movement, not going to win that. He fought Pavlovich, who's just going to beat you in a brawl. He fought Volkov, who's just rangy as shit, and then he fought Tabora, who can grapple. So, like, Rozenstruik's the first guy who doesn't have, like, a distinct, okay, this dude is just clearly better than Tai in one area. Probably their technical striking, but Rozenstruik's not a gun who's bouncing around on the outside. So if Tai just looks completely shit and can't even win a favourable matchup, it's rough for him. He might get sent back and he might just retire, to be honest. If he loses this, I could see Tai retiring and being like, I want to go pursue other ventures, SAFTA. Like, I don't know. But yeah, Tai definitely needs to get a win to stay relevant in the UFC, to be honest. I mean, he's always going to be a fan favourite, but like 5 in a row, like we look at Tony, like I think the 5 in a row is actually kind of crazy to think about. Like not many men's fighters lose 5 in a row, and when they do, it's like Tony, BJ Penn, Anderson Silva or whatever, where you're just like, yeah, they're washed, they're way over the hill. But Tai, it's like, bro, he's 32 at heavyweight. He's just losing because he's fat and out of shape and not good at fighting. So yeah, he arguably should be cut if he loses, if you're not looking at just the fact that he's a fan favourite. But Rozenstruik, sorry, yeah, Rozenstruik, I would say he's under a little bit of pressure. He's expected to go out there and win, odds-wise, but again, he's front of an enemy crowd. People want Tai to win. No one views Rozenstruik as a top contender. So yeah, I would say Rozenstruik's under a bit of pressure. Tai is definitely under more though. So yeah, let's move on though to the next fight. Next up, Carlos Prates. He's a big favourite, so he does kind of need to win to keep that hype going. A lot of people will probably bring out the fraud check nowadays if he loses. He's on a bit of a run. And yeah, if he wins this, he's probably like gets a ranked opponent, to be honest, because welterweight's not that deep. So like, you can get a ranked opponent if you beat Li Jingliang by KO, especially if he finishes him. That's big. That'll get a lot more people knowing who he is. He's on a pay-per-view main card. Previously, he's been fighting in the Apex and then on a fight night card, fight night prelims. So now he's on a pay-per-view main card. He's got a spotlight showcase. I think that's what the UFC wants him to do. They want him to go out there, smoke Li Jingliang, KO him, get a highlight on the reel, and then you can really start promoting Prates as like a good contender at welterweight. Because, like, Radke and Giles, they're good, but they're not great. But, like, people will recognize Li Jingliang, and especially on a pay-per-view spotlight, definitely a big one for Prates. So I'll say, like, 6, 7 out of 10. Again, it's not crazy. Like, you can come back if you lose, but, like, it's a favorable matchup. Li Jingliang's not going to grapple. He's a striker. You should be better at striking than him. And he's also coming off, like, 2 years off with a back fucking injury. So, yeah. Prates needs to win this to really keep the hype going. But let's move on to Li Jingliang. The Leech, I wouldn't say he's under too much pressure. He's expected to lose here. If he goes out there and gets the win, it's great for him. That's going to be really beneficial to his career. If he loses this, you probably go and just fight some vet and just go into the veteran fighting mode. But like Leech, I want him to... I mean, I kind of don't want him to win because I like Prates and he's actually a good prospect. But Leech, I wouldn't say he's under much pressure. He's expected to lose. He hasn't been in the cage for 2 years, so yeah. No pressure on Leech. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. Next up, Junior Tafa. I mean, this dude's fighting a fucking blob. I mean, Volta Walker has lost weight, to be fair, if you look at him at the weigh-ins, but Junior Tafa, look, he needs... The narrative around him right now is, like, decent striker, cannot grapple to save his life, literally got taken down by a rocked Mo Usman. Who hasn't been able to secure takedowns against, like, anyone in the UFC. He beat Parker Porter, lost and got whooped on the feet by Rogerio de Lima. I guess it was on short notice, but, like, he needs to win this in convincing fashion and win it by KO to be like, yeah, this dude's actually got like prospects of being something at heavyweight, because anyone that can fucking shoot a takedown should be able to beat this guy, because you cannot get up once you're on top of him. Volta Walker, though, I mean, he's relieving some of the pressure on his arteries. Of course, he's losing some weight. He's de-blobbifying. And yeah, he's under a bit of pressure because he lost his debut as a big favourite, looked pretty awful. And he was undefeated before that, so he needs to kind of get the win for people to not just see him as a complete bum. And if he shoots a takedown on Tafa and gets it stuffed, that's embarrassing. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. Of Ricardo Ramos, no, fuck, who cares? He's a bum. He's an unranked featherweight. Kulabao, again, home crowd, I guess, not great if you win. You're a bit of a favourite, but again, no one views you as good. So yeah, not much pressure on either. They're just going to fight. Casey O'Neill, Luana Santos. O'Neill needs to kind of win. She's on a 2-fight loss streak. She's got to win to stay ranked, stay relevant. Otherwise, it's off to the OnlyFans for her. She's already gone halfway there with a feet finder. If she loses this, she's going the full way and giving up and then getting an OnlyFans. Luana Santos, on the other hand, again, young fighter, not super, like, desperate for a win. She won pretty recently, too. She won back in July. So she's staying active, about a month turnaround. But yeah, Luana Santos probably needs to win to have people view her as, like, good, I guess. I don't know. If you lose to Casey O'Neill, it's not a great look. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. Jack Jenkins. I mean, if you lose to Herbert Burns, it's over for you. You should just pack it up and retire, put the fries in the bag. You're done, you're cooked, you're toasted. But if you beat Herbert Burns, no one really cares. You're meant to beat Herbert Burns. If you don't beat Herbert Burns, you're not a capable martial artist. And I believe Jenkins is a capable martial artist, which is why I'm picking him. He's like a minus fucking 700 favorite, too. It's ridiculous. Coming off a long layoff, lost his last fight by injury, needs to make a big statement, needs to get a TKO. I think a decision here for Jenkins is like one step slightly better than a loss. Like, if you win by decision, even if it's dominant, you need to finish Herbert Burns, otherwise you suck. Herbert Burns, I mean, he'll probably get cut with a loss. He arguably should be cut already. I guess they're just keeping him around for, like, highlight reel finishes, because every time he gets finished, he just gives up and dies. So Herbert Burns should be cut. No pressure on him, really. He's just expected to lose always. Let's move on to the next fight. Tom Nolan. Yeah, again, need to win this fight. You're fighting Alex Reyes. These are back-to-back, just like borderline predatory matchmaking, like, needs to be investigated. Like, you can't be booking these fights. Nolan, he's probably going to get fucking wobbled by Alex Reyes because he's got a really weird chin. But yeah, he's a minus fucking 1,200 favorite. Reyes sucks. He's a bum. So yeah, if you can't beat Reyes, again, pack it up, put the fries in the bag, you're cooked, go work at McDonald's, bro. Reyes, no pressure for him. I mean, he's going to get cut regardless. Probably if he wins, sure, keep your job around. But he's 37 at lightweight. No one cares about him. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. Song Kenan. I mean, you should probably beat Ricky Glenn if you're decent to martial arts in any way. Pretty sure I could land a shot on Ricky Glenn and KO him. But Song Kenan, yeah, you got to win this one. I mean, no one views him as, like, a contender. But again, like, if you lose to Ricky Glenn, you're awful. Ricky Glenn should probably be cut if he loses this. So I guess pressure to keep your job. I don't know. 4 or 5 out of 10 for him. First fight on the card, though. We got the anonymous fighter, TBD. No one knows who he is. He's a mystery. No, Stuart Nickel. I mean, you want to get the win here in the debut. It's his debut. He's undefeated. Keep that record undefeated. Keep yourself, like, as a prospect. Make a name in the flyweight division. Go out there, finish Jesus Aguilar, who just missed weight by like 1.5 pounds. Go finish him. Go have a good moment on the mic. Go introduce yourself in a positive way to the audience, opening up the prelims of a card. And then, yeah, you could actually be viewed as a flyweight contender. And who knows, the way this fucking division's going, they might just give you a title shot. If you beat fucking Matheus Nicolau. Go beat Matheus Nicolau after this and you can get a title shot, buddy. But who's he fighting? Aguilar just missed weight, which is not a good look. I'm fucking Hamza maxing right now again. My immune system is cooked. Not really. I'm not that sick. I just coughed. But Aguilar just missed weight. Not a good look. Last fight was arguably a robbery. KO'd Shannon Ross. If he wins here, cool. You can probably fucking fight sometime later this year and get a decent opponent, I guess, outside the rankings. I don't know. It's fucking Jesus Aguilar. What do you want me to say? That's the video done, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'll probably do a video in a bit on the 307 announcements, because the card's actually low-key kind of stacked, to be honest. I'm obviously going to pick Pereira to beat Roundtree, who lost to Marcin Pachnio. But yeah, that is the UFC 305 pressure rankings. Do you agree with my statements or not? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow my Instagram, Left Lane MMA. I make elite content. Yeah, you should like my channel. But yeah, peace out, guys. See ya.